What's up guys, Ruppy here, welcoming you to week 6 of the International Battling League. My Columbus Swoo are kind of sitting pretty right now with a 4-1 record and a +7 differential. Obviously, we would prefer if this continued. This has been quite a season, and this is starting to become one of my favorite teams I've drafted all time. So I definitely want to keep this roller coaster ride going with as much excitement as possible. Not hit a sudden slope and the next thing you know, everything is done. So before we get into things, you're probably curious about what you're seeing on the screen right now. Something a little unique, I guess I wanted to try this week. I kind of felt maybe to add a little more to these, I would bookend my team builder section of the video with a quote-unquote locker room shot. If for lack of a better term, I guess. Basically just me setting up Pokemon Camp with the team I'm bringing this week in my party, just so they're kind of relaxing and getting ready for the game ahead. Just thought it'd be something nice to mix things up a little bit. Anyway, moving over to the actual team builder screen, which is of course Pokemon Showdown. You will also notice a bit of a difference here as well. I did update things a bit, make it a little more personalized, more Swoo-like, I guess, for these videos. Anyway, getting serious now. We are playing the Penn State Nittany Linoones, coached by Nebris this week. And this is a bit of an important game because Nebris is 3-2 right now. He has a +2 differential, which means unless he absolutely destroys me, he cannot overtake me. But being right on my heels is definitely something I want to try to fix. I want to try to get some distance between him and I, just in case things start to go awry later in the season. A safety blanket, if you will. His roster should be appearing off to the right about now. His roster consists of the following: Grimmsnarl, which is his G-Max, Jirachi, Flygon, Roserade, Alola Ninetales, Jolteon, Keldeo, Rhyperior, Passimian, Flareon, and Palpitoad. You can probably tell by the tone of my voice, I am not ecstatic to see Keldeo right now. Let me explain what happened, because you're probably confused considering, yes, I did play Keldeo last week. And I'm not just referring to, LAT, even though I did also play a Keldeo in week 8 of that league. But no, I did in fact play Keldeo last week when I played the New York Cosmogs and Phantom in his final game for the league. What happened was, sometime after we played that game and Phantom dropped, the coach who took over for him, who I believe is... let me find the announcement real quick. Hagbones. He kind of made a trade with Nebris before he started making any moves, as is customary to reshuffle a roster when you take control of it from another coach who had to drop for whatever reason. He traded Keldeo to Nebris in exchange for Gyarados. So, on the plus side, I don't have a Gyarados to worry about this week. On the downside, this marks 2 weeks in a row where Keldeo is standing across the field from me, and I am none too happy about it. This horse will haunt my nightmares. Anyway. On top of that, there's also the fact that his roster contains 2 members of my current Columbus Swoo roster for LET. That being recent pickup Rhyperior, who proved its worth a couple weeks back, and my G-Max there, Grimmsnarl. So we're doing this song and dance again, where this time I'm on the other side of a clash between the G-Maxes that I possess between 2 different leagues. This time, I'm the one wielding Hat against Grimm. Barring that, his team gave me a bit of trouble in prep, I'm not gonna lie. Because one good thing I do have going for me that I noticed about his roster, Flygon, if he chooses to do so, is the only remover he has on his team. That being his lone Defogger, he has no Rapid Spin anywhere on this roster. He does have Jirachi and Rhyperior to set rocks, and Roserade for Toxic Spikes, but outside of that, he doesn't have a whole lot of hazard options at his disposal to throw my way. But considering what my game plan is, if he sets up hazards, fair enough, I'll just play around it, because I'm not bringing any removal. mainly because my 2 defoggers both straight up get destroyed by Alolan Ninetales anyway, and there's also Passimian and Defiant, which is going to be an issue. The bigger issue I noticed is that his team has a lot of pretty fast mons that outspeed the majority of my team, and a lot of those same mons can also be potential Scarfers to neutralize any of my Scarfers that are under base 100 speed, such as Kyurem, which definitely made trying to crack this team a bit of a challenge. Definite shout-outs, as per usual, to my front office for the assistance they gave me this week, especially Gage and Panda Boy. Sven, who is actually a new coach in IBL as well, he took over for another coach that unfortunately dropped earlier this week. As well as Eco, definitely contributed as well. It's been a bit of a rough week for me, I'm not going to lie. I've said it in the Discord servers as well, but of course anyone who's not there wouldn't know, so I will say it here. Injured my wrist earlier this week. So this is going to be quite the interesting challenge as I play this game, to say the least, and for the rest of the season, and the LAT season. Ugh. Poor timing. Regardless, let's get into the roster that my front office and I cooked up, and we will see how well it matches up. So first on the docket is my cursed design, Runerigus. Been a while since I brought this thing, which is sad because this mon definitely has a lot of potential. In this game, it's definitely got some interesting use as well. Colberberry is for all the dark type attacks, especially from Grimmsnarl. With the defense EVs plus Colberberry, I definitely take a +1 Gmax Snooze from Grimmsnarl after he maxes, if he decides to go the bulk up set, which has been fairly common amongst Gmax Grimmsnarls in draft. I mean, I've kind of defaulted on that several times over. I blame MV for that, as I guess we all can for his heat and Chinese spreads and whatnot. Rocks to set up hazards to take advantage of his limited removal. Shadow Claw is for offense, and especially for Jirachi, who Runerigus can kind of take on for the most part, depending on what kind of set he brings. Will-O-Wisp to burn things. The defense EVs are really there to live Scarfed hits from Keldeo. I take a Scarf Surf from full, as well as a Scarf Scald after Rocks. If he wants to risk Hydro Pump, he can be my guest. Obviously, there is always the risk of missing he has to worry about. The main plan for Runerigus is set up Rocks, probably burn as many things as I can to kind of wear down his physical attackers. Memento is the key move here, because Memento, basically, in addition to lowering stats of everything that's not Passimian, that's the one mon I'm going to have to be wary of when pulling this tactic. I can take, I can bring it attack and special attack of any mon down to -2, which then basically guarantees me a free switch into something, and there are 2 mons on this team that have basically been put together specifically to be my win cons for this. The first one is one you are probably not expecting, and that is Cog Changer the Kling Clang finally coming back after a couple weeks of not doing anything. Fresh out of the Machine Empire and ready to really probably take Nebris by surprise, I'm hoping, because one of my mons you would probably expect to be my win con here, the other, which is Kling Clang here, probably not so much. But Kling Clang actually has a really good matchup here. The 180 speed, even with an adamant nature, is enough to outspeed both Scarf Rachi and Flygon after a Shift Gear. And the plan is really simple. Shift Gear up, Gear Grind and Wild Charge pretty much run right through his entire team. You're probably raising an eyebrow at the fact that I have Assurance of all moves on this set. And I have a reason for it. That reason is, of course, Jirachi. It's kind of a niche little option that I threw out. One of my front office members raised the concern of, what about Jirachi? Doesn't it just wall this set? And I jokingly said, well, if I'm that concerned about Jirachi, I can just put Assurance on it. Lo and behold, the idea stuck because pending the kind of Jirachi he is, if he runs a Scarf Rachi, a standard Scarf Rachi, Assurance is actually a 2-hit KO after a Shift Gear, believe it or not. So that's basically... Ideally, I want damage off on Rachi beforehand so I don't have to risk eating a hit, but Assurance is the niche option for Jirachi, and it definitely works. Gear Grind and Wild Charge pretty much run through everything else. Next on the docket is Laundry Day, my Rotom Wash. I'll see you there under things tumbling. How many more references to Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog can I come up with the more I do this? Anyway. Fairly standard-ish Rotom set as far as, what I'm running move-wise and item-wise. Leftovers, Volt Switch, Hydro, Willow, and Pain Split. Pretty standard there. It's more physically bulky to be able to take hits from physical Rachi. And if he brings it, I'm questioning if he will or not because it actually has a pretty poor matchup in this game. But should he bring Rhyperior, Laundry Day is my answer to it. With the defense EVs and max HP, I am definitely taking Rock Blast if he wants to go that route for another mon that I'll be getting to here in a tiny bit. Also, if Grim is not burned, I can still live a hit from it. Ideally, I want to burn it, but if it's not burned, I can take a hit from it if necessary. The 28 Spadef EVs are also there to potentially deal with Keldeo if need be as well, because we all saw how well Rotom can kind of check Keldeo if need be as well last week, depending on what kind of Keldeo he runs. Next up, also returning after several weeks of not doing anything, since I think Cog Changer and this mod both appeared in my Week 2 game that haven't come since. It is Aram, my Serena. I'm pulling a Choice Scarf stunt this week. The Scarf basically outspeeds his entire team, barring any Scarfers that he wants to run, like Jirachi or Flygon or whatnot. But I have answers for those. U-Turn is for obvious Scarf pivoting. Power Whip is stab and just powerful neutral damage against his entire team. It definitely destroys Keldeo, which is probably what I'm going to be aiming for primarily to take out. Play Rough is more so for Persimmon and Grinsnarl. It can hit Keldeo as well, but Power Up is definitely doing more because stab and more powerful. And Knockoff is for getting rid of items to make the rest of my team's life much easier in the long run. Now, I said I had 2 win cons planned for this game. Kling Klang is the main one. G-Max Hatterene is the other. Pretty standard idea here. Set up Trick Room, and basically just break everything. Ideally, the plan is to use Hat as a breaker to try to pave the way for Kling Klang. So depending on how the game plays out, I can definitely use Hat as a backup win con as well if need be. Wise Glasses give me the 1.1 times power boost for all my special attacks, so I'm not locking myself in with Specs, which is semi-useless with G-Max anyway, or taking damage from Life Orb, or requiring a super effective hit with Expert Belt. I've got some bulk to be able to take some hits as necessary, especially with G-Max. Shadow Ball is primarily for Jirachi. I contemplated Mystical Fire, but honestly, Shadow Ball I think is more detrimental to Rachi, and I'm not that afraid of Alolan Ninetales, honestly. I can just smack that thing hard with whatever. And Psychic and Dazzling Gleam, especially if I max and go Mindstorm or Smite, is definitely doing a ton of damage all its own. Last mon on the docket, something that is unfortunately kind of becoming a staple of mine, but my front office keeps finding excuses to run it. It works. I can't argue with them. Cyanide the Salazzle, running kind of a Toxic stall set again. Flamethrower deals with pretty much everything. Toxic's everything, which is always nice. Protect is there to potentially scout. This thing outspeeds everything barring Jolteon. The speed is there to creep both Keldeo and Alolan Ninetales, which are his next fastest after Jolteon. And also, if he's trying to speed creep with Jolteon on Salazzle, this might catch him off guard and I might be able to out-creep him. I doubt he's going to do anything besides max speed Jolteon if it does come, but we'll see how he wants to play that. Ideally, if Rhyperior comes in, the plan is to hard switch to either Hatterene or Rotom Wash, depending on what I think he's going to do. Rotom Wash is designed to eat hits from it. Hat is in case I predict him to try to use, because if Rhyperior is coming, then I can safely say his Jirachi would not be his rocker, it would be Rhyperior. So, Hat would be there to bounce rocks back to him, to basically give Runerigus a bit of a break and focus on other things I would need it to do. And kind of force his hand a little bit. But, yeah, that is the team, basically. So, we're going to go ahead and get set to, as I go back over to my locker room. My team certainly looks like they're having a good time, getting ready for the game ahead. So, I will see you guys when it is battle time. Alright, battle time is upon us. We're going to see how all this works out. This feels weird playing like this, but it's how you gotta roll when you're... Anyway. Gonna get into this and see what he is bringing. So he brought Grimmsnarl. That's no surprise to me. Jirachi. He did bring Flygon. Alolan Ninetales. Jolteon, and Keldeo. So for the most part, everything I think my front office and I kind of expected. No Rhyperior's nice. So, got a couple options here. I could just lead straight Hesukia and just start blowing things up right out of the gate. Ideally, I think what I want to do is lead Curse Design and get rocks up right away. Since he does have Jirachi, Jirachi's got to be a rocker, so I don't think I have to worry about that thing being Scarf. So Flygon is most likely his Scarfer. I mean, it could be Keldeo as well. I'm gonna go Curse Design. Just because that allows me to get rocks up right out of the gate. And then proceed to go from there, depending on what he wants to run. So, good luck, have fun, Nebris. And let's see if I can execute my game plan to perfection and try to hang on to my spot on the in the standings right now. So I'm leading with Runerigus. He is going to lead with... That is Alolan Ninetales. So, about what I expected. There's the snow warning. Even if he has Blizzard, I can take a Blizzard if I really want to. He's probably going to Veil, though, so I'm just going to go ahead and get my rocks up. Kind of don't feel like... I mean, rocks will definitely help because Flygon is his only defogging option, so that thing would have to have defog if that's the game he wants to play. I have a feeling he's more so going to try to get Veil up on me. Yep, there it is. There's the Veil. I figured as much. So I'm just going to go ahead and get my rocks up pretty freely. And from here, how do I want to tend to this Alolan Ninetales? Okay, he's got Veil. I could just go into Cyanide here, honestly. Cyanide feels pretty free right about now, unless he wants to... Let's see, even if he's Moonblast and Blizzard... Ow. Yeah, he's not doing too much to me. I'm gonna go Cyanide. I want to preserve my Curse Design. Because this thing is going to be really nice later in the game. If I can pull off that Memento strat. Try to keep this thing as healthy as possible. I've got my rocks up, which right now is all I really need. So I'm going to go into my Lizard. As he's just going to Freeze Dry. Which is fine, I take that. Very nicely. And this is pretty much a free sub for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. See what he wants to do. This Ninetales is not staying in, I can tell you that right now. Even behind a Veil, this thing does not want to be tangling with Salazzle. I really don't think there's anything it can actually do to me, honestly. I mean, maybe... I think this thing gets extra sensory, but did he really pull that on the Salazzle? And even still, I could probably substall him out then, in that scenario. But yeah, this seems like a... Unless he is packing extra sensory on this thing, this feels like a free sub. Yep, he's going to withdraw, which is perfectly fine with me. Kit Fisto, that is Jolteon. I am not afraid of this Jolteon whatsoever. He's going to take rocks damage. I'm just going to get set up behind my sub. He will break my sub, but I'm just going to get Black Sludge Recovery to negate the hail. So Flamethrower is not doing a whole lot here, but I'm just going to go ahead and freely Toxic this thing. He could be well... Oh! Well, someone was paying attention to my Galvantula last week. Hello, Hyper Voice Jolteon. Well then. So on one hand, that is not choiced in the slightest. And this thing definitely outspeeds me. It's actually kind of bad now. Because I want to preserve Cyanide. Well, do I really need to, honestly? I mean, outside of Toxicking Grimmsnarl and maybe Rot... Well, this thing definitely threatens Ninetales. But so do a lot of other things, honestly. I'm going to Protect, actually. Because that gives me more Hail and Toxic damage. I completely forgot that this thing was meant to Toxic Stall, so we're just gonna click Protect. Keeps my sub intact, keeps him from Hyper Voicing any further. And he's just gonna Hyper Voice again. Now... Oh, the Hail goes away. That gives me some Black Sludge Recovery. So if I were to go into Runerigus here... Because if he's going to keep clicking Hyper Voice, that's kind of a free switch. I definitely take a Shadow Ball. I mean, it... I'm just going to click Flamethrower. If he Hyper Voices and kills me, fair enough. No, he Shadow Balls. Alright, I caught that. I was contemplating the switch to Rune, but I didn't want... I figured he would... Just in case he went Shadow Ball. He does break my sub, which is fine. I'm going to be able to get more damage off with this Flamethrower, which is not going to do much through the Veil, but that's more Black Sludge Recovery for me. And that's more toxic damage off on him. And really, there's nothing stopping me from just clicking Protect at this point. If he keeps this thing in, it dies. Throat Spray, Hyper Voice, Jolteon. Clever. I had a feeling he would probably prepare for Sub Salazzle, but I figured I figured maybe Boomburst Flygon if nothing else. I was not expecting Throat Spray, Hyper Voice, Jolteon. Regardless, as disgusting as it is, Cyanide's going to get more Black Sludge Recovery, and I think Toxic Damage will kill this thing this turn. And indeed it does, so Jolteon is gone. So that is a passive kill for Salazzle, thanks to the Toxic. That was a big play, calling it Shadow Ball. As now he goes into Jirachi. So, I would figure this thing would have rocks, because the only thing he brought that could set them. But at the same time, if he's bringing this thing in on Salazzle, then that straight up tells me this thing is Scarfed. The question is, what kind of Scarf? I'm gonna go Laundry Day. Because I could bring Cyanide in and play this game again later, especially with Alola Ninetales still hanging around. Zen Headbutt, so he is a physical one. And that flat out tells me either he didn't want me to get a sub. As there goes his Veil too, which is nice. So that flat out tells me either he didn't want me to keep my sub, or more than likely he's Scarfed. So, in this particular scenario, I would not be surprised if he goes back into Ninetales. So what I could do is Volt Switch. I could also alternatively Willow. I'm going to Volt Switch. If he's Scarfed, then I have a feeling he's going to switch, because he's not really doing a whole lot to me with Zen Headbutt. Worst case scenario, I can switch into something else and start putting in work. And plus, it'd be Volt Switch Chip. Yep, he's just gonna switch. Actually, I forgot about Flygon. I completely forgot about the Flygon. But that is fine. That's fine. So if he's not... I'm just going to Willow this thing. That kind of tells me that Keldeo is most likely Specs, which is worst case scenario. Granted, I've kind of figured Specs would probably come. He could be something else, but Specs makes more sense. He did bring Defog Flygon. Well, how about that? The only mon on his team that can defog, and I wasn't sure if it was going to or not, but lo and behold, it does. Still, Flygon is burned, so it's definitely not doing anything to me now. And Laundry Day is definitely sitting pretty right now. Get some burn chip off on this thing. And I'm just going to Hydro Pump because I can. So rocks are no longer a thing, unfortunately. Let me start taking that off. He just Blast Switches, which is fine. Right back into the Ninetales, which he does not have Veil. Well, he doesn't have Veil up. This Hydro Pump should definitely take a nice chunk out of this thing. And indeed it does. So, he definitely outspeeds, and I really don't want to be taking a Freeze Dry. He could just set Veil back up. I'm just going to go into Cyanide. No reason not to. Because unless he's packing... Well, even with Blizzard, I don't think he's threatening me that much with... He's going to go Veil. Fair enough. So I'm pretty sure we know how this song and dance goes by now. Once again, this is pretty much a free sub. Which is exactly what I'm going to do. He stays in this time. What are you up to? He does have extrasensory. Okay then. Good to know. So in that regard then... I'm just going to let Salazzle go and click Flamethrower just to get more damage off on this thing. Because it should still do a nice chunk through the Veil. And I'm almost positive that with the way he played it, that Jirachi is Scarf. So that was a nice call on his part, but that's another turn of Veil burned. And honestly... I mean, Veil is still an issue, but I could kind of freely go into Hesukia here and start doing some damage. Let's see. Veil up. Ninetales. Ow, ow. This is a lot harder than it looks with only one good hand. This is not good for me. Let's see. I mean... Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna go into Hesukia, because this is my chance to basically start breaking things. Because he's really not doing a whole lot to me, and I'm basically free to just click Trick Room here. See what he wants to do. Freeze Dry will hurt a tiny bit, but it's not doing too much to me. He's just going to Moonblast. So, Moonblast is his last move. Does not get the special attack drop, which is nice. Trick Room is now up. That's another... Well, there goes his Hail, which is nice. It's another turn of his Veil burned. How many turns of his Veil does he have left? Let me check that quick. If this thing's like Clay, it's 4 more turns, I believe. But this is a pretty free opportunity for me to just max. And... I'm gonna Smite. On the off chance he goes into Grimmsnarl expecting the Psychic move, I will definitely do some serious damage to that thing, even behind a Veil. Nope, he's just gonna stay in, which is fine. Smite definitely kills this thing through the Veil. So that should be the end of Alolan Ninetales. So... He does have Veil, but I do have Trick Room. So, I think Hesukia can still do quite a bit of breaking right about now. This Smite should be the end of Alolan Ninetales. Yes, it is. So once this Veil goes, that is the end of that for this game, which is good. I was getting tired of Veil shenanigans. So, what would he go into now? Rachi seems fairly obvious. He could go Grim as well. Those seem like his most viable options. Flygon is, even behind a Veil, neither Flygon nor Keldeo really wants to take a Smite right now. Or even a Mindstorm in Keldeo's case. I'm being wary of Mindstorm just because of the fact that Grim is still around. That's just a wasted turn right there. But... outside of Rachi, I've got free reign to pretty much just smite everything at this point with Hesukia. He is going to go Rachi. Which is fine. Because that is exactly why I have Phantasm on this thing. And even behind Veil, Phantasm should be a 2-hit KO on this thing. And he's definitely not killing me with Iron Head while I'm maxed. And that's what the 244 EVs and HP are for. Well, even if he's not Scarf, I'm definitely outspeeding this thing, but... he goes Flygon! Okay, I see what he's doing here. He was scouting for what move I'm gonna try to hit, he was scouting for whatever move I'm trying to hit, Rachi with. That is a defense drop. Okay. I mean, I could Phantasm again. I'm just gonna Smite. If he goes into Rachi, that's fine, because Rachi would actually just be confused. And he's just gonna sack Flygon. Which is fair enough. So, that is gonna be the end of my G-Max. But Hesukiya's got 2 kills this game. Which is always nice. As he goes back into Rachi now. That's alright. I am sitting at 112. An Iron Head definitely kills, but I do still have a turn of Trick Room. This is his last turn of Veil. I'm just going to collect Shadow Ball. Get some damage off, because that's the main goal right now, is damage off on this Rachi. Not bad. And so he's just going to go ahead and click Iron Head, and that's going to be the end of Hesukia. So, I apologize to my Goddess of Silence, but it did what I needed to, which is just break things. I could definitely go into Serena here and threaten this Rachi out. Let's see, Iron Head. I mean, I want to be wary of knockoff just because, And Keldio's still around. Actually, I have an idea. This Rachi is of no real threat to me. So I could just Shadow Claw this thing. And I have a feeling he's just going to switch out. I could just Memento now. I'm going to Willow Ash, actually. It seems a little dumb, but Willow is residual chip on Keldeo. It makes this Jirachi much less of a threat. It definitely makes Grimmsnarl a lot less of a threat. He's just gonna stay in. So I'm gonna take Serene Grace from him, so Iron Head's flinches are not a concern anymore, and I'm just gonna go ahead and burn this Rachi, which is fine with me. Chip is good on this thing. That is the game plan. I'm going to go ahead and set rocks, actually. Memento would be nice right about now. But, actually, maybe I made a mistake not going Memento. He just goes straight into Keldeo. Which is fine. I got my rocks back up, and with Flygon gone, he definitely is not getting rid of them. So, the name of the game now, this is probably Scarf Keldeo. That would not surprise me in the slightest. Or sorry, Specs Keldeo. I'm half expecting the water move, honestly. Even though the switch into Aram is kind of obvious. I'm going to go Laundry Day. Kind of do some scouting. Because with Rachi burned, I think... I mean, Grimmsnarl... Him maxing with Grimmsnarl is still definitely a concern. He's sub. Hello? Are you sub Calm Mind? I'm just gonna Volt Switch out on you. I think you're sub Calm Mind. That is exactly what you are. Hold the phone here. I'm not seeing... I was gonna say, this should still break the sub. And indeed it does. And I can definitely go into Aram here. And threaten this thing out with a Power Whip. And I could play rough as well, but... I'm just gonna Power Whip. No sense to me. This thing is scarfed. I want to see... I don't know if he would sack this thing. Expecting to outspeed. That is exactly what he tries to do. And that is 2 weeks in a row where I get to watch a Keldeo faint before my very eyes. Goodbye, Keldeo. Goodbye, horsey. So, a little deja vu there. And now he definitely realizes I'm Scarf, which is going to bring Grimm in. Which now begs the question of what is he going to do with said Grimm. I'm going to power up again just because it does so much damage. I mean, Serena definitely did one of the biggest things I needed to, which was basically take care of Keldeo. I mean, I could switch to and bring this thing back in to relock myself in so I can... We are playing the bulk up game. Somehow, I had a feeling that was the case here. This Power Whip should still do a lot, though. Indeed it does. So I am definitely expecting him to max this turn. I'm just going to stand and click Power Whip. I feel like I don't really have a reason to do anything else at this point. I mean, Serena would... I mean, well, if Rachi's Scarf, and I'm pretty sure it is... I mean... I'm not outspeeding that thing regardless. I could definitely take a hit from it unless he's packing fire... Well, even... I could probably take a Fire Punch, too, with the investment I've got. There's the max. So, I'm pretty sure any, I mean, a Power Whip will still definitely take a chunk out of this thing. Just no doubt about it. Assuming I hit it, but I should be able to hit it. The Power Whip and Play will both be doing about the same at this point. I do miss the Power Whip. And he goes Starfall. Fair enough. I'm just going to assume Play Rough on this thing. As the, as what that thing is coming from. He's Life Orb! That is good to know. And I'm going to Laundry Day now. Actually... A thought crosses my mind right now. There are a number of things he could be with this thing. Did he bring Power Whip for Rotom? That is what I want to see right now. I should definitely outspeed this thing. I'm going to Volt Switch for some Chip. I have a bit of an idea. I'm going to go into Curse Design. Ideally, I would love to be able to Memento this thing, but Volt Switch is Chip. And let's see if he's packing the... Nope, he goes Snooze. Which is fine. And that just straight up kills. That tells me he does not have Power Whip for Rotom. Depending on his Spadef investment, from this range, I may actually be able to kill him with a Hydro Pump. I mean, both Hydro Pump and Will-O-Wisp are iffy plays. I'm going to go Hydro Pump. I know they both have a chance to miss, but he's going to switch to preserve his G-Max. Okay, that's fine. I will take that, actually. I will take that all day. So I'm just going to Hydro Pump, which does nice damage to you. Do you die to your burn, actually? You do. So, Grimmsnarl is all that remains at this point. His G-Max is burned. So, I brought Kling to be a win con, and yet it's not even going to get to see battle at all. That is actually kind of funny. This Volt Switch should definitely kill, and that's going to be that. So, GG Nebris. That was a hell of a game. Only a 2-0 win for me, but my winning ways continue, and I get a bit of breathing room between him and I in the standings, which is definitely beneficial. Whew. Not gonna lie, with an injured wrist, that was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be in terms of the actual playing portion of that. That was painful. Regardless, GG Nebris. My Swoo improved to 5-1 now. That should put us at +9 differential. Pending Howler's game this week, that's not going to be enough to catch him unless he loses, in which case I overtake him. But it gives me some breathing room against Nebris at least, which is definitely going to be beneficial down the line. So with that said, thank you guys so very much for watching. I have been RuppDat / Ruppy / however you want to refer to me, since that's, I guess, always going to be a bit now. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.